We all want abundance, right? But honestly, at what cost? Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving deep into some truly fascinating astrological insights surrounding a highly charged placement, Rahu in the second house. In Vedic insight, this specific placement creates what's known as the shadow of abundance. We're going to use the core texts to explore the deep and, honestly, sometimes really tricky connections between our driving material desires and our true inner fulfillment. So, think about this for a second. Is your bank balance growing faster than your peace of mind? It's a profoundly heavy question pulled directly from our source material, and it really sets the perfect introspective tone for everything we're about to unpack. Because when we talk about this specific astrological energy, we aren't just looking at money in a vacuum. No, we're talking about the actual psychological toll that the intense pursuit of that money can take on you. Part 1. The Shadow of Abundance. Ambitions versus values. Okay, let's define exactly what we're looking at here. You can think of Rahu in the second house as a massive astrological magnifying glass. It takes the core areas of human experience, things like wealth, speech, family karma, and material desire, and literally turns the volume up to 11. It doesn't just subtly influence these areas, it supercharges them, turning them into the primary focal points and, really, the biggest challenges of a person's life journey. Part 2. The Wealth Paradox, Financial Ambition. The source text actually lay out 6 distinct phases of this financial ambition. And let me tell you, it is not a slow, steady climb. It's more like a volatile roller coaster of sudden gains and sudden losses. It often manifests as this deep, gnawing hunger to shatter the financial limits set by your family, which can drive an absolute obsession with status symbols, or even push you toward foreign, distant opportunities just to make your mark. But ultimately, all of this leads to the very real risk of your financial ambition completely outgrowing your emotional satisfaction. So, the absolutely crucial point here is understanding this specific dichotomy. Ask yourself, are you purposefully accumulating wealth to build a solid, reliable foundation, or are you just caught on a hamster wheel, chasing an endless, totally undefined more? When the desire is amplified this intensely, the line between healthy accumulation and an insatiable chase gets dangerously thin. And because this path is marked by such sudden financial shifts, a second really vital question pops up. Are you carefully managing the wealth you do acquire, or are you recklessly gambling with your stability? The energy here is incredibly volatile, which means stability is something you have to consciously maintain. You just can't take it for granted. Now, when the text mentions an outright obsession with luxury, well, it forces a hard look in the mirror. Do your material possessions actually serve your needs, or have they started to completely define your identity and your self-worth? We also have to look at the psychological drive behind all of this. The text talks about a strong hunger to rise above your family's limitations, but you have to be honest with yourself. Are you genuinely working to build a life of abundance, or are you just exhausting yourself trying to prove a point to the people who doubted you? Because the motivation matters just as much as the outcome. Part 3. The Power of Persuasion, Influential Speech. You see, this placement isn't solely about your wallet. It's also about your throat. Rahu placed here actually transforms your voice. Speech becomes incredibly influential, sometimes a bit unusual, and distinctly attention-grabbing. If you have this placement, the text predicts a natural, almost effortless talent for marketing, persuasion, and wielding major influence over others. But having a magnetic voice is definitely a double-edged sword. You have to ask yourself, are your words creating a meaningful, positive impact in the world? Or are you simply stirring up controversy just for the thrill of being heard? And when you're utilizing that natural talent for persuasion, there's a really strict boundary you've got to consider. Are you honestly informing your audience and bringing them real value? Or are you just using a silver tongue to sell them empty dreams? That temptation to manipulate is the real shadow side of this placement. Part 4. Rewriting the Family Code, Unconventional Values. The source texts make it super clear that this placement brings profound complications when it comes to family karma. Those traditional values you were raised with, they might suddenly feel incredibly restrictive, creating this massive tug of war between the old ways of your ancestors and your own new intense personal desires, which inevitably leads to a critical turning point. You hit a crossroads where you have to decide, Are you going to honor your ancestral traditions, or are you going to completely rewrite the rulebook for your own life? Because the old rules just don't fit the abundance you're trying to build. Part 5. When is enough enough? Mastering desire. Our source material actually distills this entire astrological journey into one perfect thought. Quote, "The challenge is not just earning more, but knowing when enough is enough." And that hits the nail right on the head, doesn't it? The goal isn't to kill off your ambition, not at all. It's about mastering your material desires so that you aren't completely consumed by them. So I'm going to leave you with this lingering, somewhat provocative thought to end our explainer today. Are you becoming wealthy without losing yourself? As you chase abundance, as you persuade the world, as you navigate your family's legacy, just make sure the person arriving at the finish line is still someone you actually recognize. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning your own path to success.